The ANC has declared a week of mourning following the death, of course, of its Deputy Secretary General. She was undergoing treatment for cancer and had been on medical leave since November last year. As tributes continue to pour in, political analyst Dr. Ibrahim Harvey says issues of racialism and tribalism in the ANC weighed heavily on Duarte. He joins me now to tell us more. Thank you very much for your time, Dr. Harvey. It's quite great to have you with us. I saw the article that you wrote and some of the interviews that you actually had with Jessie Duarte towards her passing. And some of what you said weighed heavily on her was, for instance, racialism within the ANC. You actually go to the point of saying that she felt sidelined. Elaborate this for us.
Yeah, thanks for this opportunity. But, you know, if you read the column carefully, you know, I refer specifically to a ANC rally which Jessie addressed in Soweto in 2018, I think, November. It's at that rally that she took me by surprise because, you know, I thought she wouldn't be so outspoken in public, so critical about the ANC, about such sensitive policies, matters, you know, around race. I mean, she accused the ANC of racism and tribalism at that Soweto rally of the ANC, which I draw attention to. And also, you know, it's an anecdote, but of great significance. She bumped into an interview I was having with the historian Luli Kalinikos, and I told her about the book that I'm writing, and then she pointed to her face, the skin, and she said, oh, she's got problems, she's colored and all this, you know, and Luli and I even spoke about it after Jessie had left. But these things have been building up for a long while. Let me tell you, what I've called in my writings the growth of a Africanist majoritarian chauvinism. I've been writing about it for over 2 decades, but I think it's got really bad in the past 5 to 10 years, and you can go and do research. Look at the South African Communist Party. Not one single so-called minority for the first time ever in its top leadership. So, yeah, so that was the context within which I decided to pay tribute to her, you know, and then to raise those matters, which I thought was very important, you know. And the ANC never responded to Duarte. I mean, they said nothing in response. I mean, she was Deputy General Secretary and she attacks the ANC for tribalism and racism. Nobody says anything. It just disappears. Well, you know, that is how the ANC. But she had strong feelings of what is ultimately part of what you call the national question in South Africa, you know. And so that was what I was trying to explain.
What did you think in terms of, you know, the fact that you had invited her to the launch of your book, you know, a few years ago, pertaining to the great pretenders, race and class under the ANC rule? She accepted that invitation, and you say in the article that it was quite a surprise to you. So clearly she was somebody who was starting to speak out against some of the issues that she found within the ANC. But in the public, especially during her interviews with journalists, you know, we were coming across a person who seemed to be ready to defend the ANC at any length. Yes. You know, she seemed that way to us and to the public. Yes. But you say that, in fact, she was starting to fight against some of the issues that she found within the party.
I mean, there's no doubt, no shadow of doubt about it whatsoever. And the record speaks for itself. Go and listen to her speech in at the Soweto rally and what she had to say. It's it's major importance. And, you know, I'm not surprised that the ANC, its Deputy Secretary General, attacking the party for racism and tribalism, and they never responded. But I must tell you, she had time to read that book, and it's a trenchant critique of the ANC. A lot of people say the most devastating critique of the ANC in post-apartheid South Africa. She knows I dealt with the national question. She knows I dealt at length with how the so-called colored people were being marginalized. That's why they've lost Cape Town so badly. She knew all these things. It resonated, I believe, with her, why she accepted the invitation, and why, more importantly, she actually promoted the book at the launch. She said that she will be Department of Education, the Walter Sisulu School of Leadership, that they use the book as part of the history curriculum. Those were big things, man, you know. And so I ANC was definitely beginning to wake up, so to say, to these serious problems, of what I say is the national question. And, and why the so-called minority communities, especially colors and Indians, have become increasingly alienated from the ANC. And you just need to look at the polls. Why do you think the DA grew so rapidly in the Western Cape? Because the majority electorate, they so-called colors, they were really pissed off with the ANC so much from 1994 that they threw in their lot to the DA. That's how the DA becomes the majority party and the main opposition in parliament. People don't neglect to go into that, really.
Yeah.
So it's been coming along, this Africanist chauvinism in the ANC. It's alienated many people who were fervent members of the ANC, who are no longer active in the ANC, who drop their membership. It's been happening. You see?
So, Dr. Harvey, do you...
The ANC has messed up the national question completely in this country. They hardly discuss issues, During the apartheid struggle, they raised the national question. The national question is not just unresolved, it's become more explosive in post-apartheid South Africa. And
so
Jessie
do you, Dr. Harvey, I'm sorry to interject there. Do you make anything of the fact that, because I hear you repeating it twice now, do you make anything of the fact that the ANC didn't respond to its DSG, firstly calling it out for tribalism and racism, and then later on endorsing a book that criticized it for the same topic? Do you make anything of the party not responding to a person who was at least in their top 6?
No, they never responded. I said it in the column. They knew that it's true. That's the thing. They know it. I've had detailed discussions with Atlante, with lots of these people. They know my views. They know that the so-called colored people feel terribly marginalized, and that's why they've lost a lot of support. And that's why they couldn't respond when she made... I mean, can you imagine a senior top 6 leader accusing the party of racism and tribalism, and the ANC doesn't respond? They know it is, and it's why the ANC has shed lots of so-called minority support. I'm speaking specifically colors and Indians, who are historically always a part of the exploited in this country. White people are different kettle of fish, but that has been what has been happening. And I think Jessie's woken up, and she's spoken to many people, how favorably she was disposed to the book, and that she could go in public and say that she's wants to advocate strongly the Department of Education and the Walter Sisulu School of Leadership actually uses the book as a resource material. I mean, it's profound significance,
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Dealt with these questions decisively in the book.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Harvey. I was hoping he'd give me some analysis, rather, as to why he thinks, are there any deeper issues in terms of why the ANC never responded or actually never had some sort of meeting with her to ask her why she feels that way about the party. But that was Dr. Harvey. He is a political analyst who spoke numerous times with Jessie Duarte. Let's continue.